I am recording. Ba, ba,
I am
ba.
recording. Ba,
I
ba,
am
ba.
recording. Ba, ba, ba.
I am recording. Ba, ba, ba.
I am recording. Ba, ba, ba.
I am recording. Ba, ba, ba.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 648th episode of the Pokemon Podcast. It's super effective. I'm your host, Steve. With me is Hannah.
I am here. I picked up Pokemon Sleep again this past week because Sneasel, and then I remembered why a reason I stopped, which was I felt really bad when all my Pokemon were so tired every day because I don't get enough sleep to make them not tired.
Sad Pokemon.
And I did not find a Sneasel.
Classic. Bobby
Yeah.
also here.
I opposite of Hannah in a different game. I basically didn't touch Go this week, which I didn't realize until last night. I was like, oh, there were events and things this week, and I just didn't touch the game almost at all. So that's not like meaning I'm not going to touch it again. We have like holiday event coming up and stuff, right? That brings everybody back to the game. So
There was maybe another Pokemon app or two that was a little bit more interesting this week.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, our show for the day is going to be Pokemon Sleep because they are doing their holiday event. Big Pocket news, so we're going to talk about that. And then a little bit of Unite, maybe some Pokemon Go if we don't run long, and then Rayquaza is coming this week to Scarlet and Violet. And I actually just woke up to see that Shiny Rayquaza is coming to Pokemon Masters. That's all I know. That's the only Pokemon Masters news. I know Rayquaza is coming. I just saw a tweet about it. I don't know anything else.
So is Kricketune. You're going to get the Dillilywhoop Pokemon.
Oh, yeah. Let's start off with Pokemon Sleep. They heard our episode last week and they hit the panic button. They were like, oh no, the It's Super Effective crew is unhappy with our game. Quick, Alolan Vulpix. They have announced that Alolan Vulpix, Alolan Ninetales, Pawmi, Pawmo, Pawmot are coming to the game on December 23rd. The Pawmi line will be in Greengrass and Old Power Plant, and then and Snowdrop, and then Vulpix line will be in Snowdrop. There will be new incense, and there will also be Eevee wearing a Christmas hat, part of the holiday event.
Pretty cute. Not one we've had before.
So in Halloween, they had Pikachu wearing another Halloween hat that was different from last year's Halloween hat.
So, so slightly.
I guess instead of doing a second Christmas hat, they just switched to the Pokemon that gets the Christmas hat this year.
Yes. So Pikachu and Eevee will both, they're calling it a red hat, Bobby. How dare you assign the word Christmas to it?
Did I say Christmas? Oh, I did say. Well, you said Christmas.
I did say Christmas, yeah. Okay, so after the event, Vulpix will only be in Snowdrop, but because there will be an event, because there's always an event, the Eevee, the Pikachu wearing the hat, the Vulpix, the Pawmi, and even Snover will appear on Greengrass. So Snover, also exclusive to Snowdrop until this event. There will be opportunities to get double or more dream shards during sleep. I don't know what that means. What do you mean double or more?
It does say, there actually does say it later in the thing what that means.
Oh, okay. Dream gifts will be delivered on Snorlax's side on Tuesday, December 24th and Wednesday, December 25th. Where do you see this double or more?
If you look at the dates, there are a couple of dates where you get 3 times instead of 2 times.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So you will get double on Christmas Eve, 3 times on Christmas, 3 times on the last day of the event, which is December 29th. and then all other days would be double.
I guess that's nice because the last day of the event is always, it's a Sunday, right? So it's like you've gained as much experience or like potential throughout the week. So then the triple kind of is better than being like any other time in the week. Could just make it 3 times the whole event and just call it a day.
Yeah, they could. This is all days. Certain Pokemon more likely to appear. We talked about that. Hannah, this is for you. They heard that you were not playing, and they said, "Hey, that Lucario you're using, your main skill, Dream Shard Magnet Small, will be twice as effective."
Mm-hmm.
I've never actually used my Lucario since I evolved it. I think I just wanted the icon.
Yeah, that's actually that's really understandable. I will say, the icon that's a big thing. I'm the only person I think in the world that uses the Sleepy Cap Pikachu icon because Steve mentioned it one time on the podcast. Was like, nobody uses this icon. Never changed it from that.
That's why I picked the game back up, because I want that Sneasel icon.
But you have to go to Greengrass for this event, which no Sneasel on Greengrass.
Yeah, maybe I'll just stay on Snowdrop.
Just don't do the event.
You would still get the Palmy and the maybe
those are there.
It says you may meet shiny Pokemon under bonuses, so I think there is a shiny increase. That's usually what that means. Limited time candy bonus. Snorlax will be set to Rostberries as one of its favorites. The other type will be random. Each time an ice type helper brings you ingredients, it will have 1 extra chance of ice type Pokemon's main skill being triggered by 1.5. Main skill of ice type helper Pokemon boosted by 1. Different sleep styles will appear regardless. Yes, and they're saying on Greengrass you will have a much greater, this is the worst wording ever, much greater appearance of Eevee and Pikachu, and a greater appearance of Vulpix, Ninetales, Delibird, Sfeel, Celio, Walrein, Snover, Abomasnow, Glaceon, Palmy, Palmo, and Palmont.
Go used to do that, didn't they? They used to say like slightly or like more of a chance.
This is 100% a Pokemon, the Pokemon company's wording.
Yeah.
What did Niantic start like recently saying? Like, if you're lucky, trainers, but then it was like,
if you're very lucky.
If you're very
that was for the shiny Galarian birds. It was like, if you're very lucky, trainers.
That was also for like Toxel. If you're very lucky, trainers, you might hatch a Toxel. I was joking about hitting a panic button for Vulpix, but Vulpix and even the Palmy line are both incredibly popular Pokemon.
Is the Palmy line popular?
Oh, super. Well, at least in Japan, it's super popular.
Okay.
They put so much Palmy merch out there in Japan.
Okay. I will agree with Vulpix. Alolan Vulpix is pretty much universally loved.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think, and I do think that like any of the Pikachu-esque type Pokemon, like for each generation, always seem pretty popular. So
let's not praise Togedemaru here. No one.
Hey, Togedemaru, do not put any bad words on Alola. Take it back immediately. Togedemaru is a national treasure.
It's okay.
It's one of my wife's favorite Pokemon. I have to defend it.
Do you think that the Palmy line is going to change to fighting like Quacklevaldo's?
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, probably.
But it's electric, and I feel like that's good for No,
like
maybe
electric, and then fighting at the end.
Because Vikavolt, Vikavolt, is that how you pronounce it?
Vikavolt.
Vikavolt?
Yeah.
Oh, Vikavolt, really? I don't think I've ever heard it said like in the anime or anything. Huh. Wow, I've been living my life a lie.
I'm here for you.
That stayed bug, didn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they would want something else electric, maybe that could be a power plant. So maybe keep it electric instead of switching it to fighting? For that, like, I mean, just because it's not like they've broken it's not like they're always changing it when it gets to that that second, evolution.
It's not. Yeah,
So,
they're not always changing it. There are a lot of electric Pokemon.
yeah, but
There are a lot of berry finding electric Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anything's passing Raichu. So, like,
Yeah.
I don't
That niche is
imagine.
already covered.
I don't imagine Palmy's going to be a berry finder.
do we have any? We don't have any good fighting berry finders.
Beware is the best fighting.
Oh, Beware is fighting. That's right. Okay.
Quackleval is fighting.
Is fighting, but isn't. Yeah. Okay.
I can't remember the best fighting berry. Is it Primeape?
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Give us Palmont.
We haven't gotten a healer in a while.
Haven't gotten
an E for E. So we have Wigglytuff and we have Gardevoir. So
you're thinking Vulpix.
Sylveon.
Vulpix, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That would make sense.
Well, what is Ninetales? Is it going to be ice? Is it
Ninetales is berry.
But is it
I think they keep Ninetales in ice. I do.
Yeah.
Because they're I think an ice type healer would actually encourage people to go to Snowdrop more, because Snowdrop they have to know that people don't like Snowdrop.
Hey, Snowdrop isn't like, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I mean, I got out of there immediately after last week and went straight over to Lapis.
It's not that bad, but I ain't going back.
I'm not. That doesn't mean it's a terrible place. It just means it's not as good as the other ones. But there's some good stuff there. You got your Snovers. You got your Delibird every once in a half a year.
It has good vibes, but only for the part of the year when you want those snowy vibes.
That's true.
That's the main problem with it for
Pokemon.
me.
It's got egg Pokemon, right? Like, which aren't. I mean, you got Swablu as well. I guess could be on other places, but Snover and Delibird.
Yeah. And then there's a maintenance update coming on the 16th at
the day that this episode comes out.
Yes, 22:30 to 3 a.m. on the 17th. That's what they're saying. This will be 2.3. They are changing Ditto and the Mr. Mime line. This is actually kind of exciting. So Ditto and Mr. Mime both had Charge Strength Small, which I feel like a lot of Pokemon have Charge Strength Small, and I feel like it's not beneficial to anyone. Ditto is changing to Transform, and Miss Mime Jr. and Mr. Mime are changing to Mimic, and they're the same thing, except they're just called different, but they're exactly the same. The main skill will randomly choose a helper Pokemon on your team and then trigger. So if you have a Mr. Mime and a Wigglytuff, and the Mr. Mime decides to mimic the Wigglytuff, then it becomes E for E.
Nice.
Which I don't think is bad.
Yeah.
No, that's a great
I've been powering up a Ditto for months because it has Slowpoke Tails when it hits level 60. And so I have a level 50 something Ditto that is going to be great with this.
If you don't know, both Mr. Mime and Ditto are ingredient Pokemon. They're not skill-based Pokemon, but still, this
is a good change.
Way better than what they have.
Yeah.
Any diversity in that stuff is in like the skills is great.
They are buffing some Pokemon here. So the Arbok's helping stats are shortened, which means we'll help more. Pikachu, the holiday one, they're also shortening its frequency and they're increasing its carry limit. This is how I know the Sleep developers listen to our podcast. Cramorant is getting a buff. The main skill is getting slightly increased.
That's really good, though.
Yeah.
It is good, yeah.
It is.
Because Cramorant has the same skill as Dedenne.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it had a pretty low proc for main skill because Cramorant, well, Dedenne is a skill mon, so its skill should proc more often. Cramorant's ingredient, so it's very good at getting whatever you want Cramorant. What is Cramorant? Is like oil and potato. Mostly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't remember the third ingredient.
Something I'm checking mine right now because it has all three.
I think mine is potato, oil, potato.
Mine is oil. Nope, that's not where I'm looking.
It is oil, potato, egg.
Yeah, mine's oil, potato, egg. Yeah.
I need more egg Pokemon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Snowdrop. That's why you go to Snowdrop.
Comfy is also getting a boost. Comfy will get more ingredients and the main skill will go up. They are adding a new relaxing sound called Forest, whatever that means. And then there's some game adjustments. Adjustment to the mission screen. When you've already completed the limited time mission, tap the mission button on the home screen, and then the weekly mission screen will pop up. And they're changing the effects and description of Metronome. Before the change, it said Metronome would use one main skill randomly out of all main skills. After the change, it's now saying it will use one main skill chosen randomly from a large selection of main skills. Certain main skills that will be added in the future will not be triggered by Metronome. I'm also assuming that this is like you're not going to copy like Spit Up.
Yeah.
That's what I saw being discussed in the Slack. Was it would be a bummer to get like whatever stockpile or something that wouldn't actually do anything if it copied it because it doesn't continue.
And they are now adding one main skill seed in the regular exchange beginning on New Year's Eve. So this was limited to the premium people. Premium people could get one main skill seed and one sub skill seed. Is that what they're called? The gray ones?
Mm-hmm.
Every month. That was like one of the reasons why you would want to be premium is to get those. And now they're giving the ability for the peasants to be able to get.
What does it say? Is it going to, do you know, I can see here, it doesn't say it on here, but any info on whether it's going to be the same price?
Oh, I doubt it.
Right.
It's like what? Like Pokeballs are 100, but for the
150, the regular.
150. I think a main skill seed is 1,400. So I would guess it would be like
3,000.
I think they're 1,800, aren't they?
Are they 18?
The main skill is 18. I think I'm gonna guess they'll be 24. I'll bet they'll do the 1.5 times on that as well, and just make them 24. 1,800 for the main skill.
1,800. How much is the gray one? The sub skill?
1,400. That's 1,400.
Oh, that one's 1,400. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't be upset, right? They're adding 2 new Pokemon. This event seems great for Dream Shards.
How they do it the holidays.
A bunch of Pokemon getting buffed. This game has not even like nerfed anything. The only like one nerf they did was that universal nerf of if you move a Pokemon from your party to the box, it like resets everyone's skills. So you have to like activate everyone before you start moving things around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the only like quote unquote nerf.
Mm-hmm.
And that really only affected people playing a certain way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope more Pokemon get main skill changes. Because when I was that 1 week on Snowdrop, I was like, I get to use my Absol finally. And it was like dessert and Absol. My Absol's like cacao and apples. So I was like, oh, perfect. Like I need cacao and apples for dessert. And then every time like Absol like triggered, I was just always disappointed.
Oh.
And that was before like I understood what everything was doing. So I think I put like one main skill into Absol. Main skill seed.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And it was like, oh, that didn't actually matter at all.
Yeah.
It was just kind of a waste.
Yeah.
Now that like I'm using my seeds for anything right now, I have like 7 gold main skill seeds and I don't really have anything to put it in. But like there are just Pokemon where it's like specifically charge strength small where you're like, why does this exist on you? Like there has to be there has to be a better ability. But I think over time we've seen with like Mimikyu and now with the transforms and with Drifloom, they're like kind of adventuring out, and I think those main skills are much more exciting than just like, oh cool, you've increased Snorlax's charge strength by 1,000. Great.
Yes. They're branching out. They're finding new ways to do the main skill, especially with the Grubbin line. I think that one was new and unique in a way that means they're really trying to find ways to make the main skills exciting. I don't think that it solves all of the problems we've had with the game, but it does make individual Pokemon easier and more fun to use.
Yeah, they give Grubbin the main charge strength small, but they give him coffee, so that's why people care. I still have not made a coffee dish because I haven't found a Pokemon I liked to have coffee yet.
Yeah,
I haven't had.
I said Grubbin. I meant the Drifloon line. I haven't used either of them.
Okay,
so I got
like,
that
charge
mixed
strength
up.
S, huh? Really?
I thought you were comparing Grubbin
Nope.
to the other Pokemon that had charge strength. I was like, yeah,
No.
they did do Grubbin dirty. Yeah, you're right.
I was trying to remember which Pokemon had the spit up mechanic. Yeah,
Drifloom.
Yeah. Which, sure. All right. Yes, that line. That was a new mechanic in a way that made it clear they are trying to branch out with this.
Yeah, but going back to Grubbin, I haven't even found the coffee ingredient yet. Just because I have a couple of Grubbin. I mean, I haven't like used a Pokemon to give me coffee yet, is what I'm saying. Like,
you should, so that your ingredient finders can start grabbing that. Yeah,
I know. I've been sticking with my team. My team and I have been unstoppable.
You only need to do it for like 20 minutes.
I did get a pretty good Mime Junior this morning. You would think by being on Old Power Plant, Steve, you would get more Grubbins or more Shinxes. I've seen 0 this week, thank you, but I have seen a fair share of Mime Junior, which is like, I guess I'm catching this.
Well, they knew what they were bringing to the game. They knew the updates that were coming.
Like, secretly increased Mime Junior spawns. But I think I got a really good Mime Junior this morning, so that's like cool. It's all tomato for whatever dish needs all tomato.
Curries.
Curry.
Curry week. Hannah, you mentioned that like you're back on the sleep.
You fell off the wagon.
Kind of.
Now you're back on the way. Is that the expression? Do you fall off or do you get back on?
Well, you have to fall off to get back on.
Yes, I think they're both the expression.
But is falling off good or bad?
Bad, usually.
Usually bad.
Okay. So you fell off the wagon and now you're back on the wagon.
Mostly. Kind of. Somewhat. I go in and it tells me that I have a sleep score of 50 and my Pokemon are really tired, and so I feed them what I can and give Snorlax 1 meal and then do it all again the next day.
Sounds like a wonderful game.
What if, Hannah, hear me out, what if you just hit your plus like 2 hours before you go to bed?
Mm-hmm.
What if I feel like your enjoyment of the game would go up. Probably. Because you would have your Pokemon would get more energy, and then they would not be in this energy deficit every single day.
Yeah, but
he's right.
I feel bad about that, and it also feels disingenuous, and also it's
you
kind
have
of
like 18 other sleep apps.
You're starving your Pokemon.
You're probably surrounded by like 4
I'm starving my own
clocks.
Brain of sleep. I think that this
that's
emphasizing that is actually kind of helpful. It's just also frustrating. I could do that, but it's important for me to have the feedback that I am not getting enough sleep through the means of my Pokemon being sad.
Well, yeah, that's one way to.
This is really meta.
But it's not getting you more sleep because your Pokemon are still sad, and you're just coming here to tell us that you just have sad Pokemon.
That's true. It's not motivating me. It's just sort of making it hit home.
I totally can see how somebody would drop off sleep because they have bad sleep.
It's kind of
Or
like living in a rural area with Pokemon Go. Honestly. Except I could change it, theoretically.
No, I understand. But like, so I have a friend who was, they only come back to sleep when like there's like Eevee stuff. And then when they come back, they're like frustrated because they haven't logged in for 2 weeks. So all their Pokemon are like 1% HP.
Mhm.
And then if they don't sleep like a full 8.5 hours, let's just say they sleep like 4 because they forgot to set it, or they did set it, but it like didn't track properly or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the next day they only go up to like 40% instead of 100. And that doesn't get you through the entire day. So then you're in this deficit like every day trying to catch back up, and your Pokemon just are not performing. So therefore they're not getting ingredients. They're not activating their healing abilities. And then you never get back up to 100 after like 2 or 3 days, and you're still below 100. And then the event starts and you're like, why am I'm not caught up yet.
Yeah.
So if you took 1 day and you just tricked it into 8.5 hours, you're kind of setting yourself up at least in a better position.
This sets up a great scary movie premise where like you've ignored your Pokemon for so long that they all like revolt because they're all so tired.
Oh
They
no.
figure out a way to leave the phone. I can see it now. I feel like there are scary movies that actually start like this. But I think that it would, yeah, I don't know. It's tough because I think you would have more fun with the game if you did what Steve said. But if you really do want to try to get better sleep, and this does at least like alert you to that, like it is alerting you to like, I'm not getting great sleep. My Pokemon are really sad and tired.
Yeah.
And if that does hit home, then yeah, I would say it's tough to like switch it up.
It hits home a little bit harder than just the sleep apps that very clinically tell me that I'm not getting enough sleep. Just very
right. Well,
just
what
the
you need
number.
to do is get 6 Sneasel or 5 Sneasel, make that your entire team, and so it hits even closer to home when you
that's
see all
the
your
thing.
Sneasel sad.
It does honestly, genuinely do that more when it's a team of Pokemon that I like. And that's another thing about Pokemon Sleep is that the teams that I want to have to be good at the game, to be making the most progress, aren't always teams of Pokemon that I want it to be. And so striking that balance, I think, is important for people too.
Yeah, I understand that. I feel like that is a common, that kind of makes me feel like when I hear people who play the TCG for the first time or like are getting into it and they're like, well, I really want to use this Pokemon in a deck
or
because
VGC,
I really love this Pokemon.
Or anytime you're trying to maximize output of a Pokemon team in any way.
Yeah, and it's,
but like I have Shiny Lucario as my icon. Like I said, I have not used it on a team since I evolved it.
Yeah, the icon needs to show.
I got an event for you.
The icon needs to show, like, needs to change based on the overall like tiredness of the Pokemon. So your Lucario icon can also be as tired as your team.
Honestly, it probably should do that. That would be very amusing.
I guess your alternative of not cheating in Pokemon Sleep would be buying the energy pillows, but that's like a money alternative.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone should do that.
The best alternative is getting more sleep.
Well, let's not like be too wild about our ideas here.
Hey, let's not try to be healthy on this show. Speaking of people wanting to use their favorite Pokemon, we're going to talk about TCG Pocket and take a quick break and then talk about the big announcement that happened this week. So we will be right back. And we are back from our break. They said a new mini set would be coming to Pocket, and boy, did they delivered a heck of a trailer. It was good. Mm-hmm. This is off Pokemon.com. Pokemon TCG Pocket, Mythical Island, Aerodactyl EX, Mew EX, and Celebi EX. Headline: this upcoming expansion filled with wondrous new cards. Get ready to discover a whole new expansion's worth of cards in Pokemon Trading Card Game Classic or Pocket. Classic mythical Pokemon like Mew and Celebi are powerful EX ready to add some magic to your collection. That's not all. Fighting type Pokemon Aerodactyl EX is swooping in. This Mythical Island expansion will feature 80 cards, including 5 new exciting Pokemon EX cards. So we know 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
5 new trainer cards and gorgeous immersive cards ready to bring you into the wondrous world of Pokemon. Take a better, and then they show a sneak peek, which has Mew and Aerodactyl, but I have a link for you all that shows at least every card in the trailer, so we can go through some of them. So the rumors were wrong, which not that surprising. There was like a point where like everyone thought they knew everything about Pocket because of like data mines. Of like, okay, the Arcanine event is coming, and then this is coming, and then we're gonna get this kind of event. Everything I saw was there were supposed to be 2 booster sets. One was supposed to have Ho-Oh, and one was supposed to have Lugia, and maybe that could still happen. Obviously, Ho-Oh and Lugia are very popular Pokemon. Niantic invented 2 good Pokemon for that. But this is just one booster pack. So you have Apex, Genetic Apex, which is 3, and this seems to just be 1. And also, they've said this, but just to tell you guys, or maybe you weren't paying attention, the pack points will only work for Genetic Apex. They won't work for this. So this will have its own pack points. So if you're saving up your pack points because you were gonna buy Mew EX right away, that ain't gonna happen.
Nope.
Yep. We'll start off with Hannah. What did you think of the trailer and the announcement?
I mean, it's very exciting. I'm still kind of stuck on getting my 3rd gold Mewtwo EX. Just very, very focused on that. So I am split on how I'm going to be pulling packs from the time it comes out. But I mean, I'm excited. I like the deck that I have, so I'm not seeing any cards that will change that up too much, but we'll see. I've really been trying to build other decks. Other than just, I have not used the Mewtwo or Pikachu decks because I don't want to.
Classic trendsetter over here. Hipster TCG Hannah can't use what's meta. I personally like the Pikachu deck because you can customize it a lot more than Mewtwo. Like Mewtwo is 2 Mewtwo's, 2 Ralts, 2 Kirlia, 2 Gardevoir. That's pretty much it, right? And you can fit in a Meowth, you could fit in a Fossil. Some people do Kangaskhan, some do Jinx. You put 1 or 2, some put baby Mewtwo. But Pikachu, I think, is really great because you can do Voltorb and Electrode. You can do Blitzel and Zebstrika. I've seen some people do Magneton. I've seen some people do Raichu, a combination of what I just said. Obviously, people are doing Zapdos, but some people are doing baby Zapdos. You see Pincurchin in some. So I do like that. I like playing against Pikachu because it's like, oh, which variation of Pikachu are we getting? Oh, you decided to go Zebstrika, or oh, you decided to go like Raichu. Versus like Mewtwo, you know, like even if it had like Jinx or Meowth or a Fossil, you still know exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is not to say it's bad. It's just like, because some people like that. They just like that core mechanic. I like that Pikachu is very flexible. Personally, as a Pikachu player.
Same. I like Pikachu as well over Mewtwo. But for this set, I am excited for the card. I mean, just the cards that they showed off do show that there will be some nice variation in decks. Like the Mew EX card is definitely going to change things up a lot, and the Aerodactyl EX as well. So that's exciting. I see, the headline here does say that Celebi EX will headline this as well, but we didn't see that in the trailer, right? So I am curious as to what the immersive cards are going to be, because there are only 5 EX cards. So I feel like it's going to be one from one of those 5 EX cards, or like a couple.
I bet
from
the
there.
immersive is Celebi.
You think Celebi?
Yeah.
Because they already did Mew immersive.
Right. I was
Mhm.
thinking maybe Celebi and Aerodactyl.
Oh, I think they just
Aerodactyl
do
would be
one.
cool.
I think each booster
Yeah.
has one. I don't think
Yeah.
they do two.
I
Oh,
think they'll
right.
just
That's
have the
true,
one.
because I guess
Yeah.
one was in each booster, huh? So you're just thinking one immersive card? It does
Maybe
say
one immersive and then one like do the rewards or whatever to then get another immersive.
To get it. That makes sense, because it says in gorgeous immersive cards, multiple cards
Yes,
for the
okay.
immersive. So that would make sense to have it be one, but then when you complete something within that set, then maybe they give you a second one or something. That would be cool.
Yeah. I think what made this announcement so good, because I think the trailer played into this, was thematically it was just presented so well.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at like the Pokemon choices in the set so far, you're just like, they definitely had a vision with this set. And what did they say, 80 cards?
At least 80. So I'm guessing it's 80 for the regular set, and then the secret rares will be, because that's always how they do it. They say more than however many, and it's always like 81 for the regular set, and then it'll be like 20 secret rares or
20
something.
secret rares, yeah. So let's talk about a couple cards, because I think that's what people look at and talk about. Let's start off with Mew EX, which has, for 1 psychic energy, it does Psyshot, and then the thing that actually matters is the genome hacking, which is 3 colorless, and it says choose one of your opponent's Pokemon and then use their attack.
That's
choose
huge.
one of your opponent's
Yeah.
active Pokemon's attack and use it as your attack.
Yeah. Actually, that's really exciting.
That's a huge move. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ditto has a similar move to this currently, but you have to have the proper energy cost.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
to explain this to people who maybe I'm sure there are people listening that are like, Steve, duh, I know what this is doing. Obviously, our show appeals to people who have never played the TCG, or who have maybe just Pocket as their first experience with it. So I'm just explaining. So with Ditto, if you were to be against like a Charizard EX, you would need the 4 energy to copy Charizard's move. Technically, Mew would only need 3, because Ditto's move specifically says you need to match the energy cost. This is not saying you need to match the energy cost. I think this is a good card. Also, this is for those, again, who have never played the physical IRL TCG. This is what Mew does. This is what, like, this is not exclusive to Pocket. This is like a very standard Mew.
It's the same card. It's the same set of moves as what's currently in the TCG for Mew EX.
Is it the same? Is it also? I don't think it's called
Psyshot
genome hacking.
and genome hacking, I think, are the moves for a physical TCG Mew EX, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was.
Back in Black and White, there was a Mew that would also do the same thing, and but it was two colorless, and it would be copy. I think you could copy your own moves, because people would run Mew with Eslogor back.
Yeah. But the current Mew EX in the Scarlet Violet era of the physical TCG, it doesn't have Psyshot. It has an ability instead, but it also has genome hacking, and it's the exact same move.
Oh, okay.
Pocket.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this will be good. I don't think this fits in Mewtwo decks. Like, you could make it work in Mewtwo decks, but like Mewtwo is so powerful. Like, I could see people putting one Mew in here, but like your main focus would still be Mewtwo.
I think this counters the Mewtwo decks, right? Like this.
It seems like it. Yeah, that was my first thought. I was imagining having a Mew going up against a Mewtwo.
A Mewtwo.
Yeah.
because Mewtwo's move is 150 damage.
Yep.
For 4 energy. And Mewtwo has 150
50.
HP.
Yep.
So like this is like I feel like this is the anti Mewtwo.
Yeah.
I think it counters. Well, yeah, it does counter Mewtwo. I think it counters Charizard a bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely does.
The 200 damage on the 180 HP as well.
Do you know what this loses against pretty much instantly?
Pikachu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you can copy Circle Circuit, but if you have no electric Pokemon on your bench, you're only going to do 30.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So not very good at countering. It's not good at countering Pikachu, and it's not good at encountering something like Executor. Because why would you pay 3 when Executor's move is just 1?
1, yeah. I really think that this was put in here to counter the Mewtwo and Charizard decks, like specifically. Just does it so well.
Yeah, but Mewtwo already counters Mewtwo. So I don't know how Mew makes that much better. I feel like it makes
Mewtwo counters Mewtwo, but it's only if they are using the exact same deck, and then it's a really boring match.
But also,
as someone who uses a Mewtwo Kabutops deck as my main, I have Mewtwo against Mewtwo all the time, and I almost always lose in that matchup.
It's
because I don't have the routes line.
Yeah, because the Ralts line makes Mewtwo EX. Or
I think Mew EX in Mewtwo makes Mewtwo stronger against Charizard.
Yeah.
And
sure.
Probably stronger against Venusaur, because Venusaur can kind of wall if it gets I know a lot of these conversations you can put an asterisk and say like whoever set up faster. Like yes, that is the TCG in the nutshell.
Yeah. No, but I just feel like it's still tough because Mewtwo, because the whole thing with Mewtwo is, like we were just saying, if you get it set up correctly with the Ralts line, and then you kind of have like your 3 moves get your Mewtwo to the 150, which knocks the Mew out before Mew can do its thing. So I still think that it does work well against Mewtwo though, and then against Charizard. But other than that, I don't see anything else it's doing a whole lot to help against. But I don't know. I don't like Mewtwo. Like I mean, I love the Pokemon, but man, I just do not love it. Like since playing Pocket, and anything to counter that will be great.
Next Pokemon is we're not going to talk about every Pokemon, but Aerodactyl EX, which has an ability your opponent cannot play Pokemon from their hand to evolve their active Pokemon. I don't know if there's any Pokemon in Pocket that is you can evolve from like a move or from an ability playing. They do exist in like the normal TCG where like the move is like search in your deck and evolve this Pokemon. So it wouldn't prevent that. It's specifically saying your hand, which is why I bring that up, because there will probably be, if not in this set or if not already exists, I don't know if it already exists. If it does, it's not very popular. But I'm assuming in future sets there will be like, I think there was an Eevee that did this where it was, I think it was Eevee into Sylveon, where the move was if one colorless energy, like search in your deck and evolve your Eevee to Sylveon as the actual attack.
Got it.
So that would get around this. This is a very, again, to people who don't, maybe this is your first trading card game, this is a very Aerodactyl card. There are plenty of Aerodactyl cards that have existed in 25 years that pretty much do the same thing. I think this probably shuts down Mewtwo better than Mew shuts down Mewtwo, because Mewtwo definitely relies on Gardevoir getting set up. So even if they got to the Kirlia line, as long as you can get Aerodactyl out.
No, because it just says that your opponent can't play any Pokemon from their hand to evolve their active Pokemon.
True. And a lot of the time the Kirlia isn't back. Yep.
Not their benched Pokemon. So,
which
I thought was weird anyway, because I guess maybe I play the game wrong, but
This makes Aerodactyl way worse then. Now that you
right,
put
like
it
I don't
that,
see a
like,
whole
wording.
lot of there. I don't. There's not a whole lot of time where I'm spending evolving, unless you start off with a Pokemon. Like for example, let me just say, like I like lately I've been using the Blaine deck with Ninetales and Rapidash. And usually I'm trying to get my Pokemon evolved on the bench, have something else out there, like kind of just being that like buffer, and then switch it, right? So if I have to pull my Vulpix first, just because that's what only thing I drew to start, then it's sitting out there. But otherwise, I'm almost always evolving my Pokemon on the bench and then switching them out. So I'm trying to think of like if there are any specific Pokemon now where it's helpful to.
Starmie.
Yeah.
Is another one.
Starmie and
Yeah.
Voltor, or Starmie and Electrode are like some of the best to evolve inactive, because you would remove status condition and then you could get free retreat.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's true. Oh yeah, Starmie with the yeah. Anyways, that's true. But yeah, to the point of like the Ralts, it's not even going to touch that because most people are just evolving that on the bench.
Yeah. And usually you don't want to. I think Ralts and Curlia are 1 retreat and Gardevoir's 2.
Yeah.
So you would always want to retreat anyways before you evolve.
Yeah.
Um.
Yep. Unless you have one of the other cards that are in this set, the Leaf card.
They did show. Let's do the 2 supporters they showed. They said 5 item cards are coming. 5 trainer cards are coming, so that could be either supporter or item. Blue is one of those. It says during your opponent's next turn, all your Pokemon take 10 damage less from your opponent's attacks. So that is the opposite of Giovanni.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm sure is good for like wheezing decks.
Does this also help with the case where, is it Articuno, or I think it's Articuno that does its bigger
10
move
to each bench.
does 10 to every Pokemon on the bench? So would this protect from all those as well and not take the 10 damage there?
From my understanding of the card, yes. It says
It's not
all your Pokemon.
It's not just active, right?
It doesn't say active. Because like technically Giovanni power, like when you activate Giovanni, all your Pokemon get like a +10.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Let me reread all of your Pokemon take -10 damage from your Pokemon's attack. So yes, that would be good, specifically against Articuno. Or Dragonite, I guess, technically.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Dragonite focuses all 50 into one Pokemon, which can happen.
Yeah.
The other supporter they showed was Leaf. During this turn, the retreat cost of your active Pokemon is 2 less. So keep in mind that X Speed is an item card. You can use as many as you want. Leaf is a supporter, so if you use Leaf, you cannot use Professor Oak, you can't use Sabrina, you can't use Blaine. But still, I think good. Probably very situational. I'm not sure specifically off the top of my head what deck is probably the most beneficial from this, but I'm very welcoming to any supporters and item cards at this point, because it's like every deck is 2 Pokeball, 2 Sabrina, 2 Oak.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to try it out and see if it works in my main deck, or if it being a supporter card is just a little bit too much.
Yeah.
This card is like what everyone's talking about, and I think everyone is just wrong. It's Tauros. It's 100 HP, 2 retreat, 3 colorless energy. The move is Fighting Tackle for 40 damage. If your opponent's active Pokemon is an EX, this does 80 more damage. So it does 120 if you're against an EX. So this would deal with Pikachu EX.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is good. I don't think this is good at all.
Why not? I disagree.
This is it's too slow and it's too easy to counter. So I see you're setting up Tauros. I'm just going to put Electrode in front of you. I'm just going to put a different Pokemon in front of you. Or I just wait till Tauros has a little bit of damage and I just knock it out with Pikachu. Like 3 energy on this.
Yeah.
Where I have multiple ways to like play, like on top of like if you're only countering Pikachu, like there's just so many decks that are just not running EX. So then you just have a card that's kind of dead weight. 3 energy for 40 damage is atrociously bad. 3 energy in general is kind of bad.
Yeah.
Unless you have some sort of an acceleration. And maybe there will be like acceleration, but I think another card. So like the reason Pincurchin exists in Pikachu, or like the reason I play Pincurchin as Pikachu is because, one, like Pikachu does benefit from having extra electric Pokemon, but 2, there's like situations where you need to buy yourself an extra turn.
Mm-hmm.
And you can buy yourself a turn with a non-EX Pokemon. Like, okay, this non-EX Pokemon can go up, it can die. I just need it to go up and die. But if you because Pikachu is so low energy, only needing 2, and Pincurchin is kind of low energy as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you put 1 energy on Pincurchin on a turn where you're fully set up, you only need to then play that next energy the following turn to then get it to work. This is going to come back to another Pokemon we're going to talk about. And even if you don't get the paralysis, you're doing 30 damage, which then Pikachu can usually clean up. Whereas, like, if you do get the paralysis, then you're in a really good spot. So, like, Pincurchin's not there to like start off with, or to be like, oh, I'm going to build up Pincurchin. Pincurchin is just there as like late game, like I need to buy an extra turn, or like I need, like the only way I can win is to get 1 turn of paralysis, or the only way I can win is by getting a little bit of damage before I bring in Pikachu. Like that's why Pincurchin like exists in that deck to me, and maybe to some other players. This is now like fixed with Dedenne, which does the same thing as Pincurchin, except for 1 energy. But it's doing the same thing, even though the damage is less. You're just like, if I can get paralysis this turn, and only this turn, I win the game. And then, like, if you're playing Tauros against me, I now have a better card than Pincurchin. I'm just going to put Dedenne up there. You can only do 40 to Dedenne's 60. All I need to do is do 10 damage. Doesn't matter if I paralyze you or not, because now I bring in Pikachu the next turn and I knock you out for 10 plus 90 is 100. Like, I don't think Tauros is like this godsend counter that is like coming from the heavens to like, I think it's too expensive for something that's very easy to play around.
Yeah.
And I think a significantly better card here that like no one is talking about is Marshadow. And Marshadow kind of does the similar thing. So for Revenge, which is 40 plus, if any of your Pokemon were knocked out from damage from an attack the last turn, this does 60 more damage. So it does 100 damage for 2.
But
and it does the plus the 20 to Pikachu. So whatever, if Pikachu knocks out your Primeape, if Pikachu knocks out whatever you have there, you get an auto knockout with Marshadow.
That's true. But the difference
it's way
there
easier
is
to prepare.
It's easier to prepare, but you have to be using you're going to want to be using a fighting deck, right? Like,
yeah, but everyone's saying Tauros is the Pikachu counter.
I'm just saying, like,
Marshadow
Tauros
is the real Pikachu counter.
Tauros is so much more flexible, like in deck use is what I'm saying.
Because it is
like,
all colorless.
Because it's colorless, whereas like there's a fighting energy on that Marshadow, so it's like I'm gonna have a fighting deck, or I'm gonna be splitting my energies, which I've seen people split energies in decks, but it just doesn't ever seem to turn out well for them.
It goes better than you'd think.
The reason Pikachu is dominant is because there's not a lot of actual hard counters to it, right? Like Marowak Primeape is probably the best, but you don't see it that much because it's not really good against anything else.
Hey, I won. I have many wins with my Marowak deck, but yeah, that's true. I actually haven't touched that deck in weeks.
So
honestly,
I think like if you think of like a deck that could be possible, it would be like, I think Mankey and Primeape are incredibly good cards.
Oh yeah,
I think they're
especially
I think they're
promo Mankey.
super good, but they have
Yeah.
like nothing to back them up, and I think Marshadow backs them up really well without taking up a lot of deck space, right? Like
Yeah.
you have you could have like Mankey, Primeape, Sandshrew, Sandslash. But now you can cut Sandshrew altogether into 2 Marshadows, and they cover Primeape really well, and then you still have 2 spots for something else, like another fighting type Pokemon that might be introduced.
That's true. Plus, it's a beautiful card.
Yeah, it really is.
The full art one. Yeah.
Like there was a very so Revenge is not also a crazy unique move. Like this move has existed on plenty of fighting Pokemon, specifically Terrakion. There was a deck at one point that was just for Terrakion, and they all had the same move. It was ultimately like Revenge. I think it was called like Retribution or something like this. But it was like, if your Pokemon got knocked out for 2 energy, we would do a lot of damage. And that move in general has always been in the TCG a significantly better move than Tauros's move. Like again, this is why I'm bringing the emphasis up. Like these cards are not unique to Pocket; they've existed, so we've seen how they've worked outside of this game into like the real game, and it's not good. Like it's just in a situation, yes, can it work? But we've seen time and time again that like that kind of moveset on like a Tauros or a Bouffalant isn't as good as people like think it is. I'm sure somebody will comment like, I won with a Tauros. I'm sure you did. But I don't see like Tauros being like this like big meta shift. I think Marshadow will provide a meta shift in the way of like fighting hopefully gets stronger, and that puts more pressure on Pikachu players. And then, that's where we're at. Like Mewtwo would probably not be as good if there were dark type Pokemon to counter Mewtwo.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, it's understandable.
People try.
Well, I guess fine. I won't pack point all the Tauros then.
No, don't pack point your Tauros. I do think that Dedenne makes Pikachu better. I think you remove the Pincurchin, you put in Dedenne, you're ultimately achieving the same thing, which is like you're not there to do 10 damage and well, you are there to paralyze, but like not early game. That's like a late game kind of thing. The only other card I think that's maybe worth talking about is Execute, which is 50 HP, has a colorless energy. It says take a grass energy from your energy zone and attach it to this Pokemon.
Yeah.
There's 2 Executors that use 1 energy. Actually, I take it back. The more I read this card, the more I don't like it. Take an energy, take a grass energy from the energy zone and attach it to this Pokemon.
Just gives you an extra. I definitely see this as like a you end up drawing it first, right? So it's out there immediately, but then it immediately gives you the opportunity to well, wait, hold on a second. Backing this up for a second. Executor only takes 1 energy, right?
Yeah.
So if you already have it in order to do this.
Because there's no reason to have 2 grass energy on Executor unless a new Executor is coming.
Right.
You could maybe put this in like a water deck. You would attach a water energy to it.
Oh, right.
Use the move, get the grass energy that you're not normally running, assuming that's how it works, and then you would have an Executor.
That's true.
Oh,
that does give you better like typing energy in a deck.
Well, it does. It says that you have to take the grass energy from your energy zone, so this would have to be a multi-type deck to begin with,
I
plus
don't-
execute being in there.
I don't think so.
I think
Right?
it does.
What do you mean?
That you would
Like
have
you
to
think
have.
you think it's just gonna fail if you're not running grass? I think
Yes.
that defeats the purpose of the card.
Oh, no. Yeah, I agree with Hannah. Like you have to be running running grass energy.
Yeah.
Your energy zone doesn't have a grass energy if you're not running grass.
I think it's just there's just no discard pile, right? There like because this is a digital only game. I'm assuming it's just going to give you an energy. I'm
I don't
assuming it
think
doesn't
so.
care what you have because like
These exist now.
like
It
Dragonite.
wouldn't say take it from your energy zone.
But where is
otherwise.
Where is it pulling it from?
If it was pulling it from the ether, then it's pulling it from the ether. If it's taking it from your energy zone, then it's pulling from the energy that's there.
But the energy zone is just holding all the energy.
Of the types that you've specified. You specify the types in your energy zone every time you build a deck.
Maybe, but so if you don't have grass energy, you think it's just gonna fail?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it would do that thing like similar. It would just fail. It'd just be like cannot complete or whatever. I mean, because we have cards now where like this technically happens, right? I mean, we have like Gardevoir, right? It's like take psychic energy from energy zone, attach it to an active Pokemon. Like I've never tried it where if you just ran it with like a fighting energy deck, would it still pull the psychic and put it on the on the Pokemon?
Well,
but
it would be a good test, right? Because like so it could only attach psychic energy to psychic Pokemon. That's part of the rule for Gardevoir.
Okay.
Is it? I thought it was just to the active Pokemon.
It has to be a psychic Pokemon. Can't.
Okay.
So if you built if Hannah and I did a friendly match and Hannah did nothing and I just did Gardevoir Mewtwo, but I switched my energy to dark.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it would work if you tried to use the Psy Shadow ability. I think it would fail.
I don't think it would. I'm very curious now. I'm sure somebody has tested this, but I've never seen it in action or I've never thought about looking it up.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about it either, but I still think like regardless of let's say this doesn't work, like I still think this is great for having a multi-type deck, and then you're just not even having to worry about that grass energy in this situation because you're just going to end up pulling. I mean, you do technically still have to. It's 2 moves, right? It is 2 moves because you have to put an energy on the execute to then pull in the other one.
Yes.
So it is 2 versus 1, but
yeah. Last card we'll talk about is Vaporeon, which has the ability to wash out as often as you would like during your turn. You may move a water energy from one of your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon. So this just makes Misty better.
Yeah, I was gonna say what they went the opposite direction. What we were like talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What's going on here? Why are they like? Why are they boosting Misty? And
I mean, Misty is annoying, and Misty is the only card that can beat you before you even get to act.
Yeah.
But I don't think Misty is not. It's just not an A tier deck.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it nearly as much in the current PvP
because it's not consistent.
In the
Yes,
5,
because
yeah,
it's not consistent because people want to get the consecutive wins.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
definitely. But this just adds to that though, right? Like I feel like we'll just see Misty pop up a lot again because it's like, well, now if I don't hit on turn 1, I still have this other, I can just pop this Vaporeon on my bench and now it's just adding, like you have to have the water energy on Pokemon in the bench, I guess. So it's not like it's adding from energy zone, but
the thing about
still,
people running 2 Articunos was because they only wanted the Misty to apply to that. Where now you could run other water Pokemon, get the Misty to apply to that, then push it to Articuno when Articuno shows up.
Yeah.
So it makes, in my head, it makes Articuno more consistent. Because you can, because I always feel like if you're playing Articuno, you should be playing Starmie for the free retreat and for like the easy damage.
Yep.
But you don't need 7 water energy on Starmie. You only need 2.
Right. And now you can move them over to Articuno.
Yeah. So now you can
Yeah.
move those extras to Articuno and then still have the power of Starmie on your bench.
It's a good card. It's a good card. Yeah. That's so since there's I forget typically like when there's a there's a Snivy in this deck. So are we expecting Servine and Superior in this as well? Like I'm wondering if we're going to get a Superior EX as one of the other.
Yeah, I would assume we would get Superior, Volcarona. We don't have Burn yet in the game, so Volcarona could be like the first burner. Usually like Flame Body ability. We should get a Magmortar, Shiinotic. Delmi, they have showed a Delmi's card. It's terrible.
It's the same as it's Grass Lapras.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah, you
Lapras
need
EX, but
4 energy to do like 90 damage. It's so bad.
yeah. Well, the I guess the difference is like there's no Grass Misty, right? So like we got the Grass Lapras, but there's nothing to like add to that quickly. So yeah, it's
Maybe
awful.
there will be.
Yeah,
going back to like the execute card, the only way this seems really good, and maybe you guys are right about the like needing the energy to match. The only way this seems good is if Celebi's ability is similar to Vaporeon's ability, where you can move around grass energy.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting an extra energy off the execute, and then Celebi could move it.
Yeah, but also the execute that's an attack and it only has 50 HP. So that seems risky.
That seems you use that on turn 1 and never again.
Oh, I just saw on a different site. It was also showing that there was actually one other card revealed, another trainer card revealed. Pokeflute was also revealed.
Oh, yes. The Pokeflute seems weird because it gives you a choice. I'm pretty sure what Pokeflute said was take a Pokemon from your opponent's discard pile and put it back on their bench.
Yep. That's what this says. It doesn't say whether is it going to be random? Probably not, right? Because
it's saying you pick, right? If I remember correctly, I read it.
It just says put a basic Pokemon from your opponent's discard pile onto their bench. So, and usually if the opponent gets to choose, it will say like in parentheses, like opponent chooses which one, like when it comes to that. So I'm guessing you're either choosing it or it's random, but I would guess you'd probably choose it.
Yeah.
Would you?
The only thing that lets you like choose is Pidgeot.
I wouldn't want to use Pokeflute and like randomly bring it like a Mewtwo EX back or something.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying is like a lot of the item cards, not that there's a lot to begin with, like they don't give you a choice. Like Pokeball is just we'll search and find it. And like the main reason they're doing that is just to like save time and because they don't want you to like go through your deck. Like how often are people going through their opponent's discard piles? Like I mean I did a lot when I played competitively because it was like what have you already played, but because the decks are so small I never like think to like I was like okay, they use 2 Oaks, they use 2 Pokeballs, like there's only 20 cards here. It's pretty easy to keep track.
But like I feel like this card is super powerful because like because you can use it before you use because it's an item card. So like you can if your opponent has nothing on the bench and you know that there's something in there, you could use this to bring it back to the bench, Sabrina that back in, and then knock out the thing again quickly.
Yeah.
Like if whatever you have is ready to knock that out. So like, I feel like there's a lot of power in this card if you're able to choose. I just feel like it's a real easy way to get a second knockout real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because like, let's say you're playing up against like a Charizard, so that's like 180, and you got Pikachu or something, so you're only going to do 90 against it, right, at most. But like, they just discarded something that's got 90 or 100 like HP, and you just flute it back to the bench, Sabrina it in, and then you just knock it out again. Like, I just feel like it's a real quick second knockout.
And then you're stuck against a Charizard. I mean, if that's going to win you the game, yes.
It could be the game. Or it could be like that EX card is something that you could bring that EX card back in if it's low enough HP to one hit knock it out with whatever you have. I'm just saying, like, if you're up against something big, it gives you a chance to switch it out quick if you've got a Sabrina sitting in your hand as well.
Well, if you knock out an EX, there's no reason to bring back an EX because you only need one prize card left.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Right. But
yeah,
okay.
I can't think of like Pikachu's like the easiest EX to knock out. But like if you can knock out Pikachu, you can knock out almost anything else.
That's true. I still think it's a good easy second knockout.
I think it's better than red card. I think red card's a terrible card.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I could spend the next hour talking about how red card is bad, but like
seen it on threads.
The one instance that I think is so funny is people go, "Well, red card won me the game." You have no proof that red card won you the game because you have no clue what was in their hand before and then what ended up in their hand after. You cannot confidently say red card won you the game because you just don't know.
Yeah.
Well, if we're going to go off of like just the like anecdotal evidence, like red card almost always helps me more than hurts me when someone uses it on me.
Yeah.
I'm like, thanks, you just gave me my Charizard EX that I've been looking for. Like,
yeah.
Anytime I played like PTCGO, anyone who like didn't understand the TCG would be like, wow, you are searching in your deck a lot, or wow, you're shuffling your hand a lot. And that's what I tell people. If you are consistently seeing new cards in Pokemon, you are winning. Like the worst thing in Pokemon is to have just a dead hand or something you can't do with. Now I understand that Pocket, like the deck is smaller, your hand sizes are smaller in general, but like I wish I could red card myself 99 times out of 100.
Yep.
Like if I could just see 3 new cards right now, perfect. Now I know there are very specific situations where you would like want to red card, but not enough to take up 2 out of the 20 spots in your deck. I don't even think enough to take 1 out of 20 spots in the deck. Now, the reason red card even got popular is because people look at tournament lists to be like, what is winning a tournament? And then they see that what's winning the tournament has like 1 or 2 red cards, and they go, oh, red card must be good. It won a tournament. Without understanding why red card even is there. The reason red card is popular in tournaments is because tournaments are open sheet. You can see the person's entire deck. So if you see they don't have red card, then you don't have to worry about that. Whereas if you see your opponent has red card, now you have to think the entire match. When are they going to red card me? Should I play this potion now? Should I play the Sabrina now? Should I? Yep. You have that constant worry of like, they can red card me anytime. That doesn't exist in random multiplayers because you have no clue what's in their deck list at all. You could be playing 2 Caterpie, 2 Metapod, no Butterfree, and they could have 2 red cards. And that's not going to change the way how you play because you don't know what's in their deck. They just don't have Butterfree. They just never pulled it. I played some wild decks of like, why are you running this? I don't understand. Like there again, going back to my first point, you have no clue if you playing the red card won you the match. You'll never know.
Right.
Whereas like if there is an open team sheet and you've seen 10 cards play and you see they have 2, you can at least statistically know the probability of what they are drawing into. You do not get that on, it's not even called a ladder, I don't know, like the random matches or whatever. You don't get that. In an open team sheet, you understand exactly what you could possibly be discarding and what they could be drawing because you can see what they've played. It's like, that's what it's. So in a tournament setting, sure, yes, red card is good because it adds the psychological pressure to your opponent more so than what the card actually does.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's a bad card. Unless you were playing tournaments, that it's a good card for the point of being like, I could do this to you at any time. Will I? Probably not. But you're at least thinking I could do this to you at any time.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad that you got that out. I feel like you've been holding it in. And I saw it on Threads. I saw you make a point about Threads. And I was just like, yeah.
It's all the people are proving my point too. They'll be like, but it won me the match. How do you know?
Yeah.
Yep. It's true.
I think every time I've been red card, I'm like, thank you.
That's what I'm saying. Almost every time I've been red card, I'm like, you just helped me. Like, now you're done. Like, what are you doing? Or like they'll red card me when I have only one card in my hand. Like, or 2 cards or something. And I'm like, you just gave me another card. What are you doing? Like,
I think like I got red card and I lost, but I think I lost before I even got red card.
Right.
So it was like, I'm already like losing and now you're red carding me. And it's like, okay, the 3 cards I got are not any better, but I'm already so far behind that like this didn't matter. Like the red card was irrelevant. Like my hand was dead before, my hand is dead after.
Yeah.
So like the only risk is like you could have maybe helped me, but like you didn't, and I was already in a bad position to begin with.
Red card.
All right, let's take one more break, and then when we come back, we'll finish the rest of the news. So very excited for this set, though. It looks super good. So we will be right back. And we are back. Breaking news. Okay. This is so going back to the execute conversation of whether execute would work if there was no grass type energy. We tested, Bobby and I and Hannah tested this with Brock. I built a Caterpie and Onyx deck with only grass energy, and Brock is taking fighting energy from your energy. What's it called?
Zone.
Energy pile?
Energy zone.
Energy zone. And then attach it to Onyx. But there was no fighting energy in my energy zone. It did work. I did successfully attach a fighting type energy to Onyx when I only had grass. So that means that execute could be in a water deck with only water energy and pull a grass energy.
Yep.
I don't know if that makes it better.
It definitely does.
Also,
it makes it better, yes. I don't know if execute wants to be good, but it makes it better.
Don't do that with a Brock deck because you only have 2 Brock cards, so you can't get the 3rd fighting energy for an Onyx. So just like, not a good idea, but it worked for our testing methods.
The game was very adamant. So the game wouldn't even let me do the deck at all with grass and Onyx. It said like this, you won't be able to like attach energy, and so this is invalid. So that's why I had to add the Caterpie. And then it still yelled at me because Caterpie doesn't technically need grass energy. It can take anything. But it didn't yell at me as much.
I feel like people should be using Starmie and Misty in non-water decks.
Oh, right, because then Misty now also that would also be pulling Misty or water energies to Starmie.
Yeah, but if you flip tails on 2 Misties, now you have 4 Pokemon in your deck that are just dead weight.
True.
Well,
fair.
That's the chance you take with Misty in the first place. So most people
you are playing
after
Misty.
turn 1.
It's true. You are playing Misty. So if you're listening to this podcast on Monday, the 16th, Rayquaza will be coming this week. So 2 things regarding Rayquaza. Number 1 is I did a YouTube video that's up now. If you're watching the YouTube version of the podcast, it'll be up in the corner. But I built 10 different Pokemon that should work against Rayquaza. I calculated 28 moves that Rayquaza got. That would be the strongest version of that move. So, for example, it learns Overheat and Flamethrower. So I calculated Overheat. If you can survive Overheat, you can survive Flamethrower, obviously. So calculated 28 moves. Also calculated those moves if Rayquaza used Swords Dance or if it used Dragon Dance. So those 10 Pokemon are up. Of course, we don't know Rayquaza's final moveset, so there could be some flaws here. But like Rayquaza's maybe strongest move against Steel-type Pokemon would be Earthquake. The couple Steel-type Pokemon, I did calculate they can survive a couple Earthquakes. Even if a Reflect wasn't up, obviously they survive much better behind a Reflect, or if they use Breaking Swipe or Chilling Water. So if you wanted to build something early, you can. If you wanted to wait until Rayquaza comes out, understandable. But it should be the same difficulty as a Walking Wake or an Iron Leaves or a Dialga Palkia, so it shouldn't be too bad compared to like Mewtwo. The other thing is the Pokemon Company is flying me out to Seattle to stream from the Pokemon offices on Friday, the day after Rayquaza appears. And we'll be doing a stream. I don't know what that looks like for the record, but we will be doing a stream in the Pokemon offices at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Central time on Friday on Twitch in the Pokemon offices. They said it's going to be really cool. They ordered a PC to stream from. I just have to show up with my Switch and my OBS stream key. It's exciting. They brought me out. They brought another creator out. So I'm the Friday shift. They're the Saturday shift. I have no clue what that looks like. But if you want to see and support Friday on Twitch, Pokemon offices, Rayquaza, I have zero expectations. The Pokemon Company, very nice, very generous, but also very secretive in what they are wanting to do with this event. So if there are any surprises, we will find out together because they have not told me. But I think they wanted to do more of this. I think it's a good sign that after we've been doing this show for 15 years. So I've been making Pokemon content for 15 years, and it is nice to see them working directly with communities and trying to be more involved and recognizing what people do. So that's always good.
Well, you've been leading the way, I feel like, with these builds over the last couple of years that are not just there for the solo raids, but how they work with other people and how the builds work. I mean, they're just, the videos you put out are super informative. You're helping people in the Twitch all the time when these raids come out. So it's great to see that they're acknowledging that.
And this is going to be an exciting raid day. Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah, I think, like I've been saying for the last year, I think if there's any Pokemon that could bring people back to Scarlet and Violet, it would be Rayquaza.
Mm-hmm.
You did predict it.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. It got me. Their shiny Rayquaza is also at the Pokemon Center right now. The Sitting Cutie is also there, and it got me to hop online and buy a shiny Rayquaza Sitting Cutie. So
yeah.
Shiny Rayquaza.
What else did you add to your cart to get the free shipping?
Sitting Cutie Glaceon, because it was the only one I didn't have, and it had been sold out since day one, and it's now back in stock. So the last evolution I needed for the Sitting Cuties.
And the Rayquaza, the shiny Rayquaza, is still in stock at this time. I have been considering it.
Yeah,
I think it's limit 1.
Yeah.
Is it? That would make sense.
Yep.
That would make sense. Yeah, I bought it at 3:00 in the morning. So
I have a non-shiny of that exact one. I have 2 Rayquaza plush, and I don't have the shiny, and it's a good plushie.
Now's the time. Speaking of popular Pokemon, we know Tinkaton is popular because they did a top 10, and Tinkaton was 3 or 4 on the list. It was pretty high up there. Tinkaton got added to Pokemon UNITE. which that's exciting, I guess. I I just wanted to bring up Pokemon Unite because I went back to it. So I've played Pokemon Unite, I think maybe 3 times this year. I think I played around February. I played right before Worlds, and then I played like 2 days ago. And Unite is what, 3 years old now?
Gosh,
Is
yeah,
it?
I think so.
Is it already 3 years old?
Yeah.
3, I think the 3rd anniversary.
Wow.
It's more than 3 years old.
Oh yeah, July of 2021.
Oh, 4 years. So almost going to be 4 years next year.
Yeah, 3.5 years.
This is not a complaint about Unite because I genuinely love Unite. I think it's super fun. It is a different way to play Pokemon. I do think it's cool. I will say though, this is going to sound like a complaint. It's not, but it is. I can definitely see why people don't go back to it. As somebody who has gone back to it, one, it feels the same, and that's probably like a good thing. But like, I think if you didn't like it to begin with, or you weren't like super sold on it, like coming back like a year later to be like, oh, this is exactly like the map is the same. My character plays ultimately the same. I'm still losing to Zacian across from me. That's the same. Like my teammates still don't know what they're doing. We still lose before Rayquaza. Like it's a lot of those beats. Like none of that has changed. So if your initial complaint was like, my teammates don't know what we're doing and every game comes down to Rayquaza, I don't want to say you're wrong, because playing that game for 3 hours on Friday was like, yeah, I could see why this would not be what people who fell off would want to come back to. The other thing that was like a bit struggling was like, I unlocked Metagross and I'm playing with like other people, and I got like a free Metagross or whatever. Cause like when you come, I guess that's the news. When you come back to Unite, every time you log in, you'll get like a free character. That's like their Christmas thing they're doing. So maybe log in.
That's cool.
Yeah. You'll just have to go through about 35 minutes of pop-up menus
So
that you have.
It's like a timeshare.
So you should do it on
Sit through this-
mobile. You should do it on the mobile app because the menus are faster there.
Yes.
Got it.
My Switch felt like it was about to leave the orbit. It was running at the highest just to get through these menus. So yeah, I unlocked Metagross as like a free character, and I was like, oh, I want to play Metagross. And then I immediately got hit with, I don't know what this does. I don't know which move is better than the other move. And I didn't want to like stop the group and be like, all right, everyone stop playing. I got to like look up this tutorial on how to play Metagross. But then also when I was in the matches, it was like, oh, Psyduck's in the game.
Mhm.
I don't know what he does, but whatever he's doing is destroying me. Oh, like Tinkaton is in the game. I don't know what she does, but I don't know how to like counter this. And so now there's been like ultimately like a year of like new characters and balance changes, and it's hard. Like it is.
So everything's not the same.
Yeah. But like how you play is the same.
Sure.
Yeah.
At its like core. Like you're kind of, but like the finer details, which is like, I guess like the.
Would you expect it to be different though? Would you expect the foundation of the game to change?
A new map would be
a new map, sure.
Yeah.
Well, when I played the like new version at Worlds, on stage, that did feel substantially different.
So that's a 2025 change, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
But I guess what I'm saying is like that's like Unite is probably good in the sense of like easy to jump into, because it was very easy for me to jump into, but the ceiling of that game is very high.
Mm-hmm.
And that in itself is maybe what, people are not looking for. They're looking for like something simpler. And maybe that's why so many people gravitate to Pocket. A 20 card deck is much easier to digest than a 60 card deck.
That's exactly why.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is exactly why I love Pocket. And although I love the TCG for collecting, I don't really want to play it ever. Like, that is exactly right. Where there are still definitely complexities and differences and things you can do to change things up, but it is not as complicated or time consuming as a game like the physical TCG or TCG.
Yeah, I think I lost pretty much all my games when I played. But I like still had a pretty good time. Like there were still funny moments that happened. Like we got completely destroyed by like a 5-stack. Like like I was just in casual mode, by the way. I wasn't even in
Yeah.
ranked. But like I completely destroyed, and then I was able to like run out in front of the enemy team and like start spinning in circles, and then they all started spinning in circles with me because like they already won the game at this point. So that was like
That's
like an
amazing.
actual genuine highlight. It was like really fun. But like, and then there's like a snowman mode that's happening that's like really fun and silly. But again, it's like the same thing. Like Unite is such a snowbally game. Where it just feels like if you're losing off the bat, it is so hard to come back.
Yeah.
And it felt that in casual mode. It felt that in like the little snowman mode. I still had a good time with it though. Again, I didn't want to like complain. I just like have like a kind of a understanding of like walking away from a game and coming back and being like, why aren't people? I don't understand why people are not playing this game. Like, no, I get why people are maybe not playing this game because they've had a bad experience and then the ceiling is so high and things change that they like, I don't want to come back right now.
And it's the most fun when you are playing with friends, which is another high bar to meet for a lot of people, to organize that and to find a time when a whole team of people or even just a few people can get together, play together.
Yep.
That's another thing that it faces.
Yeah.
Really, after learning how Pocket has already made more money than Unite, I think is what we determined last time.
Yeah.
So it's Sleep had too or something.
Yeah, Sleep made more money than Unite.
Yep. This is all making sense. Unite's not a bad game. It just has a lot of bars that it needs to, a lot of things that people need to meet to play the game and have fun.
Yeah. And if your favorite Pokemon isn't bringing you back to Unite, I'm not sure what is that isn't like a complete overhaul of the game. And what I played in August was great. I thought it was really cool. I don't think that's a big enough overhaul for a lot of people. I think it's big enough where people would come back and be like, oh, let me try this. But I don't.
What was the change? It was like it was point based instead of time based or something like that. Was the big change?
Yes.
That's coming.
Yeah. So instead of like the scores are hidden and you play for 10 minutes and Rayquaza appears at 8, it is I don't remember what you were supposed to get to, like the first to like 250, and then as soon as you got to 2, so the games ended up being either the snowball games would end quicker, which is good for everyone, and then like close really good games would go longer than 10 minutes, not much more, like maybe like 12 minutes, but that's not like a complaint because almost everyone who's like lost a close game would argue like, oh, if I only had like 30 more seconds, oh, if I only had like another minute, we'd be able to like turn that around. So ideally it fixes that issue of like, oh man, this game we already lost this game like 2 minutes in and it's just going to snowball for another 8 minutes, or like, okay, we got completely destroyed, no big deal, that was only 3 minutes. Dang, this really close game went a little bit longer, but it was like worth it because we were able to like get it off. So it fixes that issue. I think the other thing was like, instead of Rayquaza being like the deciding factor, the center boss would not be as impactful because you saw what the score was prior. So you're not like guessing. But that in itself is like harder to like. I only played like 2 games, right? So like that's like harder to like see how that pans out.
Right.
No, I think Unite is cool. I think like I went through all the costumes. I was like, oh man, these costumes are really good. I wish Niantic would do this.
Right.
The music is really good. The like once you get through 800 menus, like there's a lot there. There's like a lot of depth for people who want it, but also it's like easy enough to like jump into and just play. So I probably won't play a lot more of it until that update comes, but I'm glad I like went back to it. But I think at the end of the day, it's still like a MOBA, and you have to like MOBAs, right? Like I liked the concept of Pokken Tournament, but I'm just not good at fighting games, and I had no desire to like learn to get better and like. But I still think Pokken was so cool, and it was like I had no problem being like, yeah, I'll sit this one out. I'll watch it because I like the way it looks. I'm just not good at it.
Yeah, I do like them having different themes to their games and different types of games with that involve Pokemon.
Yeah.
Still waiting on that sports themed Pokemon game that I feel like they should come out with someday.
Pokemon
No one said
Dash.
anything about this. I'm just saying that they should do like
They
a
had
basketball
Pokemon Dash.
themed or soccer themed Pokemon game.
Basketball or soccer themed Pokemon game. There have definitely been mini games like that. But a full game.
I'm talking like a full, like I'm talking like NBA 2K, but it's like Pokemon.
But Charizard's dunking on Mewtwo.
Yeah.
That's what you want?
I mean, Pokemon has always tried to branch out and do different types of games. It's just that now when they are all kind of ongoing live service things that keep going, I feel like that might make it harder. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Speaking of live services, the Pokemon GO holiday event.
Woo!
So this week, part one will start. I'm just going to run through this real quick. Dedenne wearing a costume, holiday attire, they call it.
That's good.
Dedenne wearing a holiday attire will debut. Twice the XP from catching Pokemon, half the egg distance. This will start December 17th at 10 a.m. It will run to December 22nd. Wild encounters will be Alolan Sandshrew, Alolan Diglett, Swinub, Delibird with a ribbon, Numel, Snover, Darumaka, Litleo, Bergmite, Sandygast. And for the first time ever, you'll be able to encounter shiny Sandygast. Let me educate some of you all.
There we go.
You're like, why would they debut a summer Pokemon during a winter event? Well, you see, young listener who doesn't understand why Sandygast is here. The other side of the world is summer right now.
Yeah.
In the past, they've actually had a winter summer solstice event where they, talked about fire and ice and had them in their own event. So it is interesting. And I can't remember if last year they did this too, but in the past there was definitely a winter summer solstice event, and it was separate from the holiday event. And so the holiday event was really focused on the winter, like it was more like ice Pokemon and stuff on the holiday event, and then the summer winter solstice event was definitely fire and ice. And I feel like, why not just combine them? Like, what does it hurt to, like, I mean, Sandygast is great, shiny Sandygast is even better. Like, I'm all good with this. Like, why not?
I think this also has to do with the theme of like dual destinies, of like dueling things that we'll probably see throughout the rest of the season. So like summer here, winter here.
Yeah, they definitely had that in the trailer for the season.
So Sandygast is a amazing shiny, very good. Raids are going to be your 1-star raids are Pikachu wearing a winter carnival outfit, Psyduck wearing holiday attire, Dedenne wearing holiday attire, Sandygast. 3-star raids is Stantler wearing a holiday outfit, Glaceon wearing the Undersea holiday outfit. Yeah, they got to put the branding in there since that was like a Pokemon Center Undersea branding 2 years ago, I think. Cryogonal. Mega raids will be Latios and Latias. And then from 7K eggs, you get Hisuian Growlithe, Pikachu with Summer Flare, Spheal wearing a holiday scarf, Cubchoo wearing a holiday ribbon, Amora, and Char Cadet. $2 research for 2 premium battle passes, 1 incubator, 1,500 Stardust encounters with event-themed Pokemon. There will be a collection challenge. There will be showcases. There will be deals in the web store if you would like to spend more money. And then part 2, which starts Sunday, December 22nd at 10 a.m. and goes till Friday, December 27th. That'll be 2 times the XP from catching Pokemon, 50% more raid battles. You will 12 days of daily adventure incense from Wednesday, December 25th to January 5th. Daily adventure incense will last twice as long. That's kind of cool. Wooloo wearing a holiday attire will debut. That can evolve.
And it's very cute.
It's really cute. It's real good. Your wild encounters will be Alolan Rattata, Murkrow, Galarian Zigzagoon, Blitzel, Vanillite, Tynamo, and Wooloo wearing the holiday encounter or attire. Sorry. You can encounter Absol. Your 1-star raids will be Alolan Vulpix, Galarian Darumaka, Litwick, Citadel. 3-star raids, Snorlax, Banette. Not sure why Banette is there, but okay. Zebstrika, Toucanon. I can't defend the Dual Destiny Fire, Ice, Summer, Winter with Banette. I'm not sure why it's there. 5-star raids, Garatina. My favorite Christmas Pokemon, Garatina. Mega raids will still be Mega raids will be Latias, and then it will switch over to Mega Abomasnow.
Weird switch.
And then there will be incense encounters. So on Sunday the 22nd, Tuesday the 24th, Thursday the 26th, you will see increased Pokemon of Snorlax, Blitzel, Yamask, Lampent, and Wooloo. And then the 23rd, the 25th, the 27th. Make this so easy to follow, Niantic. Thank you.
Yeah.
They're really putting the infographic people in business here. You will get increased encounters of Togetic, Galarian Zigzagoon, Fungus, Furfrou, and Citadel. There will be a $5 timed research that will give you the Wooloo jacket, 2 incense, a glacial lure, and an encounter with Wooloo. New avatar items, new collection challenges, and then new boxes in the web store.
One thing I wanted to mention, and maybe I missed it, but in the raids, so Citadel will be in the 1-star raids, and for the first time it can be shiny, and it does actually say if you're raiding it, you'll have an increased chance to encounter shiny Citadel in raids.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good catch.
So I guess raid Citadel if you want an increased shiny chance there. Maybe use your free daily for that if you want an easy raid to do with a shiny chance. So a good shiny chance, or a better shiny chance, I should say.
I got a beef with Niantic.
Shocking.
I could not complete my egg collection challenge or my whatever the other one was called.
The raid one.
The raid one.
Oh no.
Because Niantic brought freezing rain to Minneapolis and it was unsafe for me to drive and or walk outside. It was also like incredibly cold. Not cold enough where the rain was snow, but
it is possible if the place you are living in is big enough, and I did this when I was living in a studio apartment, so I should be big enough to walk back and forth to hatch eggs in Pokemon Go. You can do that. It is possible.
How dare Niantic bring terrible weather on the day? Like I had a maintenance guy come over, and I was like, "Hey, how are the roads?" Because I was like, "Oh, maybe I'll just like drive to the mall." And he was like, "Oh, they're terrible." And I was like, "Okay, never mind."
Oh.
And then I was talking to a friend, and they were like, "Yeah, I went to go get my DoorDash, and I almost slipped." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'm just no big deal. It's
Yeah,
just
not
a
risking
challenge."
Were those the first collection challenges you've missed?
Yes. Yeah.
That's wild.
I'm at like 202 on my collection challenges.
202?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
you get exclusive ones at like in-person events.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think mine's at like 160 or something.
Yeah,
and
I love increasing that medal for no reason. Like
number goes up.
I love the number going up.
Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, I part of me was like, to really optimize, of course, you want to buy incubators to go through it, to get it done quicker. Saturday at the mall, probably not the best. Although, because the roads were icy, maybe the mall was actually dead. But yeah, I was like, you know what? It's fine. It's fine. I'll be okay. Nothing of this holiday event like screams out to me. The Wooloo's like super cute. The Dedenne is super cute. Like, I never bank on like getting the shiny version of that kind of stuff because it is usually hidden behind raids. But I don't know if you guys had any thoughts. Like, it seems like an okay event.
Yeah.
This is probably the costumed Pokemon that I am the most excited for, and like the first one I've been excited for in a good long while. But other than that, I'm kind of annoyed by the incense encounters.
How they
What
changing
they're
it day to day? How they're flipping?
They're not
it,
very
you mean?
good.
Not that they're not good, and not how they're flipping each day. Just that that's one of the only ways, for example, that you can be getting the shiny Citadel outside of raids. That they're either you're paying for a raid pass or you're paying for an incense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so I was having this conversation somewhere, I don't remember, Threads, Slack, something. And it's really, I wish that they would at least give us and I guess in this case a little bit different because Citadel's been in the game. This is not like a new Pokemon, it's just that it's a new shiny. But I'm getting real tired of like, here's a brand new Pokemon and you're only going to encounter it in eggs. You're only going to encounter it by raiding. And I don't have a problem with that being a thing that happens eventually, but I feel like just give us like the first week of it being out, like some opportunity to encounter it in the wild. Make it super rare even, but like just give us the opportunity to encounter these brand new Pokemon in the wild as well, so that it feels like I don't just want to drive to a raid, do the Pokemon raid and like be done, or I have to go and grab a bunch of eggs to hatch it. Like,
for almost any given Pokemon, I feel like if there is a chance that you could encounter it in the wild, even if it's very, very, very small, if it gets to the end of the event and you've been looking for this Pokemon in the wild and you just haven't found it, then you are pressured even more to do those raids. So I feel like it could be a win for them as well. But
I don't know why. I mean, I do know why they keep these things behind, eggs or raids, but just for at least a short period of time, just give us the opportunity to go find it in the wild. I think that everyone can agree that when we've had new Pokemon released and they're in the wild, it gets them out and walking around to try to catch those new Pokemon. Like, that's just what happens. People get out and move around to try to get those new Pokemon. And why not? I mean, that's the whole idea, right? You go out and you catch these Pokemon, and I just feel like when you see that this new Pokemon is out and you have to raid for it, just that was Sinistea, right? Recently, it was like, oh, this new Pokemon's out. You have to go raid for it. And on top of that, you have to find a raid because they're not incredibly common for this Sinistea. It's like, why? Why can't I just be able to go walk around my neighborhood, and maybe run into one? That would be much cooler than like, oh, there's a raid. Let me go over to it, drive over to it, and battle this Pokemon real quick. Like, it's not nearly as fun.
I thought like when they announced Dedenne for week 1 in raids only, I was like, oh, week 2, it'll probably be in the wild. They just want to like get the raid money up front. That's fine. And then week 2, it was like, oh, no Dedenne. You just have 1 week. It's only in raids.
Yeah.
It's like it's hard to be excited for that. Right. And we talk about how Pokemon Go is unfair all the time. And people will write in, they'll be like, Steve, it's so unfair. You have one of the best places to play in the world. I do. I'm Mall America. Amazing. I ain't going to Mall America every day to raid 1-star Dedenne. I'll tell you that much. Like, while I do have one of the best places to play inside, it is like negative 10 degrees out right now with ice everywhere because it was freezing rain yesterday. I ain't leaving my house I'm going to order DoorDash and give them a huge tip for driving because I don't want to. That's what I'm going to do. So like I'm in this like phase. And again, Pokemon Go's unfair where Pokemon Go's hard for me to play right now. And that's fine. It is what it is. Like if you live in sunny California, you are probably some of Niantic's favorite customers.
Yeah, except in this case, the same thing's going to happen, right? Like, I think that the Dedenne wearing the holiday attire or whatever the description of it is really cute. And would I love to get a shiny one? Of course. Am I going to seek out a bunch of raids to do that? No. I'll probably see the first raid I can to get one of them, go do that, and then I won't think about the Dedenne again unless I happen to pass by a raid that just happens to have one.
Yeah.
But would you get me out walking around daily to try to catch one in the wild? Absolutely. I'm just not going to like drive over to even do a free raid because I don't want to do that. I want to walk around and catch the Pokemon. Like, I don't know.
If there was a Dedenne with a costume spotlight hour, I would put snowshoes on and 5 layers of jackets on, and I'd be out there. I'd be out there for that hour.
There was a back in the Halloween event, right? There was a Rowlet and Piplup hour, spotlight hour for those costumes.
Froakie.
Or Froakie, sorry, yeah, Froakie and Rowlet. And
I was out. I did it.
Out. I don't usually for spotlight hour. I don't usually go out and actually walk the neighborhood for spotlight hour. I just catch whatever's in my house. That one I went out because it was an exclusive Pokemon. It was really cute costume. It was 2 of them. I went out to do it. Like that's gonna get more people outside, and I mean, to Steve's point, like you can't do that everywhere, obviously, when it's freezing cold. But I don't know. I just like that's fine. Put them in raids. That's okay. But also, just give us a chance to get them walking around in the wild.
Yeah.
I heard the Necrozma event went very well. They boosted the shinies. It was like they brought back Beast Balls for it.
People were hyped.
Started on Beast Balls with Necrozma, but
that's cool.
I heard it was a very good event. I don't think there was. They could have said like that Necrozma was like a 50% shiny, and I probably still wouldn't have done it because I did 112 Necrozmas over the summer, and I never want to see that Pokemon again.
You're not their
target demographic for this
specific event.
But I'm very happy that it sounded like that event went incredibly positive for a lot of people. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's great. And that is where a raid event can shine, or putting something as a raid can shine, right? Like do it there. We don't need Dedenne only in raids. Like it's like
I don't get why Dedenne isn't a spotlight hour.
I mean, they've been doing this with Pokemon like this for years, and it is a continuous mild annoyance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because like probably next year they'll be like, "Oh, Dedenne's in the wild," and I'm like, "Okay, that's cool. I guess I have to wait a whole year for it."
Yeah, it's just something that I've noticed more and more has been annoying me. Even though I am someone who goes out and raids, I am someone who buys the incubators to hatch the eggs. Obviously, if you've listened to this podcast, you understand that. But it's getting more and more annoying because it's just like, why can't we have these Pokemon at least for some short period of time, put them in the wild so that we can have that excitement of like running into an encounter. I guess that's part of it. I would like to feel like I'm actually like running into one of these encounters versus I'm going to open my phone. Oh, there's the raid. I'm going to drive to it and go get the Pokemon. Like that's just not nearly as exciting as actually going out there and adventuring around and like coming across these new Pokemon or these costumed Pokemon. That's just a better experience in my opinion. Other than if you live in a place that's freezing cold, and obviously it's not going to be as fun to get out and walk around as it is to like go get the Pokemon. But
yeah, I mean they put Wooloo in the incense for the increased incense, which I think was smart. I don't know why Dedenne isn't in the like other incense, especially since like if you miss that 1 week of Dedenne in raids only, wait till next year, I guess. Like, why would you not put it in the opposite instance? Like, why does Zigzagoon or Togetic need to be there? Fungus, I'll give a free pass because Fungus gives you extra Stardust. Furfrou, I'll give a free pass because there's a lot of those to collect. I don't know why Zigzagoon or Togetic is in the other days.
Does Togetic give you something? Is there extra XP or something with Togetic? Is that?
I guess it would be extra Stardust because it would be a middle evolution.
Yeah.
That's true.
But not like the bonus Stardust that Fungus or like Paris. I don't remember all the Pokemon that give you bonus Stardust. It's like Fungus, Trubbish, Paris. There's probably a leaked up graphic on that somewhere out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like an okay Christmas event. We already know that Niantic makes most of their money during summer anyway, so
yeah,
they could be making more if they made these events better.
Well, they, again, like we were saying a couple weeks ago, I feel like the Halloween event and the Christmas or the holiday event, the winter holiday event, were always bringing people back into the game, or at least you heard more people talking about those week-long events or those couple week-long events. But I do feel like one of the things that they have definitely just lowered over the years, and I understand why, is like the bonuses for these events. Like this first week's bonus is 2 times XP for catching Pokemon and half hatch distance for eggs placed in incubators. Like, come on. So what you need people to do is go buy incubators, right? Like, because that's what you're essentially,
that is
like,
generally one of the better bonuses though.
It is, but like in addition to others, I feel like in addition to other stuff, like for the holiday event, I feel like the holiday event just used to have more bonuses. You'd have every day there was like there'd be like a different gift of sorts, and I know that they have like the 12 days of incense or whatever afterwards, but even that, it's just like, oh, we're doubling your daily adventure incense, and now it's like very few actual bonuses, throwing some costumed Pokemon at us, which is fine. Like that's fine, but I don't know. It's just, go look at the holiday event from like 3-4 years ago, and it's like a different like gift each day of the event, a different bonus of sorts every day. And now it's like, here's a couple very like minimal bonuses. Also, like pay $2 and you get some extra stuff, right? Like,
do you think they make it simpler because they also like need to be out of the office for holidays? So like if it breaks, they're like don't want to be called on like
I doubt
they don't like
that's
trust
a factor.
their own source code.
I doubt that's a factor. I think that's being too nice to employees for most companies.
I don't know. I just think that it is interesting how much things have changed. I'm just like looking back at like older holiday events, and I just feel like it's just less and less and less.
I do wonder, this is not a Niantic thing, it's just like a live service game thing in general, of how much the player base goes up or down because of the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think for Pokemon Go, it might be a little bit more complex because like
the weather.
Not my family, but I am sure. Well, yes, probably my family, but I don't see my family. But if I was to see my family, or I'm sure some listeners, if they were like with family for holidays, and they were like, "Hey, I'm gonna disappear for 2 hours to catch some Pokemon," for my family, that wouldn't fly. They would be like, "You're ignoring us. We drove all the way out here to do this. You're not spending Christmas with us." So I am curious of like living games, if they see like, oh, because it's the holidays, or not listenership, I'm thinking of the podcast, a player base goes down, and like specifically for Pokemon Go, we see less people playing because they are focused on their family. I don't think that justifies
possible, but we also know that there are families that are the complete opposite that play together. I literally have Pokemon that I have gone running out of Thanksgiving dinner with someone in my family to go catch like a Gibble up the hill years and years ago, where it's totally fine to just sort of dip out and play Pokemon with someone who's already there.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that families play Pokemon together. We see this at all of the events.
Yeah. Again, I don't think that changes this. I'm just more so curious because I can tell you from a podcast perspective, our listenership goes way down over Christmas, the week after Christmas, which is New Year's, and then the week after that. And it's not until those 3 weeks passed where it will normalize again. Yeah. And that's normal for podcasts because people break their routine, right? Like if they're listening to my show on Monday mornings when they drive to work, and then they listen to the rest of it when they drive home, but they're not doing that because they're traveling or they have the Monday off. That just breaks their normal routine. And then they have to play catch up to get back up. Not that you have to play catch up with this podcast since it's news focused, but
yeah, that's true. And I think that does ring true to holidays in general, like these holidays in general. I mean, I would guess that there are probably, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I would guess there are probably more families that aren't playing Pokemon Go together than are playing Pokemon Go together.
Yeah, that's probably
overall, right? Like,
of the families where at least one person plays Pokemon Go, I think even that is probably true.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Well, that's all I got for this episode.
Pokemon Go holiday event is happening.
Yeah.
It is happening. Well, thanks for making it to the end. There's a bunch of stuff on Patreon. I've increased the amount of behind the scenes or bonus content that you can get on Patreon. So if you want a Christmas gift to yourself and you don't want the ads and you want the behind the scenes stuff and you want to join our Slack community, you can head over to patreon.com/PKMNcast. That's also in the show notes, but there's a bunch of stuff up there. Bunch of videos, a bunch of pictures, bunch of stuff. So I'm really selling it. I'm selling it very well. You should head over to the Patreon. Thanks for making it to the end. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Bobby. We will be back next week. This has been another episode of the Pokemon Podcast, and we are
super effective.
Super about to put a Starmie and a Misty in some deck that's not a water type deck, just to see how it goes. Effective.